Oh man, you guys are in for a treat. The next Primarch found by the Emperor was none other than Leman Russ, leader of the Space Wolves. Now, unlike other Primarchs, or like other Primarchs I should say, the world that Leman landed on was quite dangerous. The world that Leman landed on was that twofold though. Fenris was an ice planet that was said if a lesser being landed on it, they would have died. But Russ was built different. Russ was found by Mother Thunderwolf, which was basically a direwolf on that planet that would take him in as her own. He would grow up amongst wolves, but would eventually be found by a hunting party of native tribesmen of Fenris. A deadly fight would ensue that killed his adopted mother, but he saved two of his packmates, Freaky and Judy. The tribesmen would eventually stop fighting with Russ after they realized that he was kinda human, and take him with them to see their chief, King Thengar of the Russ tribe, who would make the choice to raise him as a warrior. Russ would grow as a person as he was known to be quite smart, learning battle tactics and the Fenris language quite fast. Thengar would eventually name him Russ, Leman of the Russ, and when the king died, he would take his place. It would not be long before the Emperor would hear of this King of Fenris and would make his way to find his long-lost son, and their meeting has quite a story. The Emperor would land on Fenris and disguise himself, and went to meet Russ. Russ would not pay him any mind, and he knew that Russ would not bow unless bested in some way. So, in true fashion, Viking fashion, trials would begin. The first was an eating contest, in which Russ and the Big E would see who could eat the most food. Russ would win this contest with great ease, even though the Emperor would try his hardest. The next was a drinking contest, in which they would see who could drink the most. Again, Russ would win, which would begin to upset the great Big E immensely. So naturally, as one does, the Big E would say that Russ was an alcoholic and he ate too much, and then he was a good-for-nothing piece of garbage. Russ would issue his last challenge calmly, that being a duel. E would then throw his cloak away and reveal his true form and his great golden power armor. This time, the Big E would win with a blow from his power glove, which would knock out Russ, who, when he awoke, he smiled with a broken tooth and swore allegiance to the Emperor of mankind. It was said that unlike some of the other Primarchs, Russ would respect the Emperor, but was not an ass-kisser to put it bluntly. The Big E would begin to teach Russ of his tactics, and within a few weeks, the Big E would deem Russ worthy of leading his legion, the 6th Legion, the Space Wolves, in the Great Crusade. Russ himself has some pretty badass quotes during the Great Crusade, such as, "Here I am, and here I shall die." Now, like every great Primarch, their escapades are why they're so memorable as characters in 40k. I will delve into one of these stories that I would say is rather important. The story takes place during the Great Crusade, and it begins on a planet called Janine, after an event called the Genie Scoring, in which the Primarch Angron and his legion, the World Eaters, murdered an entire planet in a single night. Now, while the Emperor can be morally gray at times, even this gave him pause. And so, his solution was to send Russ to deliver the decree of the Emperor that Angron would no longer use a vicious surgery on his legion with these implants known as the Butcher's Nails. These dangerous cybernetic enhancements would perpetually cause the person inflicted with them to be furious at all times. Angron with his World Eaters would meet on the fields of the dead city that was Ganin. Angron would tell Russ to leave the planet, implying that a fight would break out if he did not. Russ, not backing down from this threat, would tell Angron the Emperor himself has decreed it, and so it must be, that the surgeries must stop, and the World Eaters and Angron himself would wipe out no more planets, and furthermore, they would return to Terra and the Butcher's Nails would be removed no matter what. Angron did not like the implied threats that Russ was giving him, and so a fight would ensue. This fight for the Space Wolves is known as the Night of Wolves, but it's said that no one saw who fired the first shot. Both sides claimed the other shot first, and the fight itself was not a victory for either sides, but Angron would not return to Terra, nor would he or his legion remove their Butcher's Nails. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Before this video ends, I want to thank you guys for your support as it has inspired me to continue talking about Warhammer 40k. Please, if you have time, I strongly encourage you guys to check out some more for yourselves. as talking about everything would take hours, so instead, I'm going to be giving very abridged versions of events that happen in lore. Once I'm done talking about the Primarchs, I will begin to talk about the Horus Heresy and what each Primarch and their legion's part was in it. One more thing before I depart. I recently picked up a new WarHammer book called Bloodlines. It's a WarHammer crime mystery novel. I will be starting it soon after this video goes live, and I will be doing a review on it in the near future when I am finished reading it. Thanks again, and I hope to see you guys around next time.